I'm going to tell you the pros and cons on solo traveling, and we're starting right now. What's up, travel heads? Brian here with Life of BD, bringing you the best travel hacks and tips to prepare you for your upcoming travel. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. So everyone always talks about the pros on solo traveling, but you never hear much about the cons. And yes, there are cons in solo traveling. I'm here to talk to you about the pros and the cons of solo traveling. Pro number 1, you don't have to compromise. You're by yourself. You do what you want and when you want. Con number 1, you can feel pretty lonely at times, especially in the beginning of your solo travel. I've had my share of experience when I traveled to Asia for 7 weeks and I went partially solo because I did not want to wait for people to travel with me. So what happened was I was in Malaysia where I met up with my college friend who used to live in the States for a little bit and went back to Malaysia to live. And I was hanging out with him and I had a lot of fun. We went all over Malaysia, and then when I had to go to Thailand, I was alone. So it's like I just had this very fun trip with my friend who I really get along with, and now I'm in this other country alone with not much plans. So in the beginning of the trip I was like, man, what am I doing here? Like, I'm kind of homesick. I couldn't believe it. But when I started going out and doing my thing and started talking to my hostel mates and meeting a bunch of other people who were travelers also, and just meeting a bunch of people in general, that really upped my spirit. But other than that, it has been lonely, and there will be lonely times whenever you solo travel. Pro number 2, solo traveling gives you the opportunity to meet people from around the world. You're more approachable when you're traveling alone. It's great meeting other travelers. You immediately gain a bond with them once you start hanging with them. I still keep in touch with travelers throughout my trip, and they're all from around the world. Meeting locals is another way to learn more about the country organically. If you're lucky, a local might even invite you over to have dinner at their house, and you get that organic vibe and feel of how the family is and how things go in general. With people you just meet throughout your trip, you don't feel obligated to stick with them. So if you don't like something, you can just leave. Con number 2, expense can be an issue. For me, I've been fortunate enough to live in a country where currency is higher value than other countries. Visiting Southeast Asia, the currency isn't as high, so things are more affordable for me. But when I'm traveling in the States where I'm trying to rent a car and book a hotel, it can get quite expensive. So when I was in Tennessee, I rented a car and I just slept in the car for the one night I was there, which saved me $100 for just a night in a hotel for an 8-hour sleep. One night of spending in the car in the States is more than a couple days in Asia hanging out. Say if you're solo traveling to a country like Iceland, where it's pretty much mandatory to have a car and gas, which is really expensive, compared to if you were to have a travel head with you, then that would cut the price in half for a car rental and gas rental. And if you had 3 other travel heads with you, then that would cut the price to 1/4 each person. So instead of spending $200 a person on gas and car, each person will only be spending $50, saving each person $150 if they were to solo travel. Con number 3. And yes, we are jumping to con number 3. Traveling solo means no one is watching your back other than yourself. Not only are you more approachable to travelers, but you're more vulnerable to these. No one is watching you, as someone can be digging through the back of your backpack in a crowded area. You can't just leave your bag on the ground to go take a photo, although I've done it several times. Wouldn't recommend you doing it. You have to be aware of your surroundings 24/7 and not go to places that are sketchy, regardless if you're solo traveling or not. Trust your instinct. Pro number 3, and I saved the best for last. You become a different person. You grow and you learn as you travel solo. You are not the same person as when you begun the journey. Your leadership has grown. You take charge when you're solo traveling. No one is there to guide you. You either do your own research or you learn as you go. Not every day in life you face obstacles, but when you solo travel, you will face obstacles here and there. All the solo stuff forces you to act independent. It improves you as a person. Mentally, you feel so much better at the end of your journey. And those are the few pros and cons on solo traveling. And I wanted to clear the air with them. Do you agree with the list? Comment below within the first hour and I'll reply right away and we can debate. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that bell button. And if you're ever wondering how I spent 7 weeks with just one backpack in Asia, check out the link below as I show you my travel checklist. Thank you, and until then.